Okay, so eichenwald attack, mid to high gold. I'm going to skip to the team composition. So this team composition for gold is decent. 2 tanks, 2 healers, 2 DPS. You have a win condition in Ana and Genji in your nano blade. So you might want to communicate that so they use their ults at the same time. So Ana doesn't randomly nano someone who will get less value than Genji's blade. What I would say is that in this situation I would probably pick Lucio. Because Lucio can help heal for Ana. He can help speed through chokes. He can help your Rhine with being more aggressive or retreating quicker with a speed boost. But it's not too bad other than that, and he also obviously gives you a defensive wall, which you lack. So coming from skipping to where you connect the doors. So as you can see here, there's a spam heavy comp. They have a Hanzo, they have a Risa, they have Junk, they have Hog. So this is why Lucio will be really good in this instance, because you can't really heal through that kind of spam damage anyway. And Lucio, what you could do is you could wait here on this corner, or on the stairs of this building. Communicate that everyone's going to wait for speed boost, and you can just amp speed boost and go left here. So that'd be one way to get through this quite difficult spam composition that you have. So there you died because of your lack of awareness. So you don't realise the level of spam they have. So you get hit with a Junkrat bomb, which is a bit unlucky because it's obviously not aimed it for you. But what you could have done instead is, again, it's a, sorry, not again, but it's like a pathing issue. So what you could have done is you could wait here, because from here you could still have the distance to heal your tanks. And then once they've decided where they want to go, whether that's through this building or more likely through main, you could like fade over to here and avoid all that spam. And then when they come through again, your fade will be back up, and you could fade, probably the left side is where they're going to go. So here, again, the trap is unlucky. The trap was on your screen, but that's just an awareness issue. But if you faded correctly, you would avoid that spam damage. So you need to use your mic here and tell everyone not to push up, because your Genji's just killed one person, but if you tell everyone to wait for me, you've just lost a healer. By the time you regroup, because you have such great spawn advantage, and Mora gets back quickly because of fade, you'll be in a 6v5, which will heavily favour you. But because you don't, everyone goes in and kind of staggers. So there's quite a lot of the stagger phase here, which I'm going to skip over because it's just people not going in as 6. And, you know, if you call for them to reset, they might not always, they might still stagger, but at least you've tried. And you also want to get people as much as possible to stick together, because as you can see here, Ryan's over here, some people are over this side, Diva and Anna this side, so if you can get everyone, just try and group up as much as possible so that your healing gets as much value. Here you need to call out that Arisa's 1 HP, so everyone goes on her. Like, Diva's not aware that she's that low. Anna's not aware either, so if you call her out, it's just Arisa, and then a location. So Arisa behind the payload 1. Everyone will probably try and choose her, she's so low. So here is an issue, is when it comes to how you avoid things. So the problem that you do here is why you avoid die to this Junkrat. Because of the Junkrat projectile size nerf, it's actually from that distance as he comes around this corner. It's actually pretty easy to avoid his spam damage, but because you're jumping, and when you jump in Overwatch, you lose a lot of the strength. So your ability to move left and right is hindered by jumping. So from this distance, if you are on the ground, you could easily spam left and right, not spam, sorry, go left or right depending on where the projectile is going. But because you jump here, you can't get out the way of this. So you need to not avoid, you need to try and get the habit of spamming jump all the time, because it makes you a lot easier to hit. Again, communicate, I've died guys, can we wait, can we wait? And everyone's just in their own thing, everyone's in totally different locations. So you've lost 2 there, so this fight's basically lost at this point. So you need to be calling for people to get back. Like, your own's still in there pushing in, and he's got no chance. The nice thing about this push is that you can hear that they've used Nano, they've used Tire, they've used Coalescence. So even though that fight was lost because they already killed 2 people on your team, they still use frills, which is a good thing. So as you can see here, is your win condition of Nano Blades getting really close. So you should be calling, hey guys, can we use Nano Blade next fight? So that could be good. Or what you could also do is, because McCree's close to his ult, is when you get to the choke next time, is if you ask Ryan to hold up shield and Diva to DM, McCree can break through the Orisa shield, which will help you a lot to get to points. You might also be thinking, well, they've used 3, so they've used Anna, they've used Junk, they've used Coalescence. So Orisa's probably got Bongo at this point, and they've got Bomb, they've got Hansel. So what you could do is you could use your Coalescence reactively when Orisa uses Bongo, because Coalescence is quite a decent counter to Orisa, assuming you have line of sight, because it'll go through a barrier.
Alright, can we like group up so I don't join the fight when you guys are already half dead?
So there you're saying to group up, which is good, but my issue with this is that it's a late call out. This is like what often happens at lower levels, is that people will be like, God, can someone please kill the Reaper after Reaper kills them, and not saying like where Reaper is or calling him out before they kill them. So I like the call out, but it needs to happen a lot earlier. It needs to happen after the first fight.
I'm not dead yet.
So yeah, just call for Nano Blade here. They have no defensive ult, so you should be okay. So this death here where you die to this chunk again, you just spamming jump, not realising that your healing orb was available, so you could just put an healing orb in that small hallway, this small hallway here, which would heal you, and then with your right click you'd be healed so much that the junk would be able to kill you anyway, and then you should fade out the other way because Junkrat body blocked you. So Genji here uses a naked blade. You've not communicated your plan of Nano blading, so he's just gone for a blade on his own. So he could have easily killed that entire team then. It's not really your fault, but it's these small things by using voice chat where you can help your team then. So this Coalescence is away, so I'm pretty sure you knew at the time. He's probably a bit tilted from Junkrat killing you over and over again, but your team is at such an advantage there. No one's in risk of dying. Someone over here is, but you can't heal them with Coalescence anyway. There's just a Moira, I think, on points. You're gonna get like no value from this. You know, Baby Diva's 1 HP anyway. Basically, you're getting like 0 value from Moira in this fight because no one's grouped up, and you've not used your Coalescence correctly, so you've had very little impact on this fight. And when you want to group up, you want to try and get as much impact as possible. So that could either be switching to a different healer, so you could be switching to a Mercy or something like that to help your damage deals. So here, it's the wrong orb choice here, in my opinion. So I like that you've gone forward with your team to try and get some staggers, which is good. But what you gotta think, even though Genji's low, it's his own fault if he dies. You can't heal him in time anyway. You'd have to use your fade, which would be too risky anyway. And even if he does die, your spawn's right there, and their spawn's all the way over there. So if he dies, it's not a big deal because he'll be back much sooner than they would anyway. So I'd focus on this Anna, throw a damage orb against this wall. Your right click and damage orb does 100 DPS, so you'd kill this Anna. Even if she used an aid on herself, you'd kill her in like 2.5 seconds. So it's better to try and kill this Anna rather than healing this Genji who's 8 range anyway. Your McCree kills her anyway, but it's just better to try and confirm the kill yourself. So no one's on this payload here, so this stagger phase, it's only good if someone's on the payload because you get all this distance for free while they're not even taking a fight. So all this fighting's going on, so, you know, you've got some kills in there, so their Junkrat's popping off, killing everyone on your team, but all this is just helping their team because no one's pushing the payload during this leg phase. So you see no one's pushing the payload here, but you turn around anyway and you don't push it. So yeah, Genji's dead anyway through Winston. Collison should be able to heal through. But yeah, you notice that no one's pushing the payload there, but you need to keep an eye on that meter. So you could communicate with someone who's low. So I like this, you're pinning for your Ana against the Nano Monkey. So this is fine. I'd probably use the damage orb there just to get the kills. Just junk. You know, just saying the target everyone's on, so you know where they are. Things will apart, things will apart. So they're just staggering here, which is good for you. So as you can see here, my issue with your... I think it might be an issue with your mouse pad or your sensitivity, because as you can see here, the way you turn around and look at things, it's not smooth, it's very... I'm not sure what the word is, it's like very sharp. So you turn here one way and you use your movement keys to kind of aim for you, which shouldn't be what you're doing. What you should be like is... So what you're doing kind of is like this. So it's turning this way, using your movement keys to aim yourself, and not so it should be a really smooth movement. So as you move forward, you should be using your mouse to aim in nice smooth things like that. So even if you have to turn sharply, you can still slowly move it side to side like this, so you still can see where the enemy is, rather than as you're aiming right now. It might be a mouse pad issue, like you might literally, as you do this, you're at the edge of your mouse pad, so it might be worth getting like a bigger mouse pad, or if it's a sensitivity issue, looking up sensitivity guides on YouTube to make sure you got the right one. Because even though Mora is not like an aim intensive character, just if someone 180s you, like when that Winston jumped behind you, it took quite a while for you to do that. And I think that's probably an issue with your sensitivity or mouse pad space. So as you can see here, when I'm aiming, I'm doing it quite smoothly. It's not like whoops, ignore that. But it's quite smooth, it's not jagged. So there you are, so they switch back to Orisa here.
With Eagle.
Drop down. Don't walk in that trap I'm shooting.
So yeah, you use Nano for no reason. You call it they have a sim, which is really good, but they have a sim and a Orisa. And you see this hog, but you call it, it's a little bit later than I like it to be. The moment you hear hog, I'd like to like instantly hog right side looking for a hook. You say it, which is good, but you just need to say it a little bit quicker. So here, it's not the best use of coalescence. You could have, once you fade to the div, you could have just healed her up with your left click. There's no real need for this coalescence here. On this point, against an Orisa, it's really good because it can buy a lot of space because it goes through the Orisa barrier, and it, like, especially if you pair it with a damage orb. That's 120 DPS, which is still quite a lot. And it usually forces the Orisa to go backwards, but here you've wasted... As you can see, basically you'll have a quarter left by the time you turn the corner. When you know there's no real need, so you could have killed that turret, for example. You know, junk targets too. It might be worth pulling for a reset here because you did too.
Wow.
Because this is just feeding them with so much ult charge. Nice fade to avoid the deep punch. So yeah, I like this position because Orisa's been nanoed. So what you can do here, as you're doing right here, you're avoiding that spam while also being able to heal your team. So this is quite good positioning. Hanzo gets a good dragon up. And so when we're thinking about getting the maximum out of coalescence, what you're doing here is you're 2 forward, so you should be quite farther back, so your back's almost against this wall that's back here. If you look at this rug and you're going in this direction, because if you use your coalescence here, obviously you can't shoot through this payload, but if you're back here you have a larger your coalescence can go through more people. So coalescence is, as I mentioned before, a decent counter to bongo because you can kill the bongo through it. Here you don't damage orb cancel. You have your orb available, but you don't cancel it into it. And again, your point of view, if you were on this right side, you could heal everyone, damage the bongo, damage Risa, damage everyone on this side. But because you've positioned yourself on this left side, you know, you wasted a little bit of coalescence time. So you get in the right position. This is where I want you to be earlier, essentially. And then what I'd probably do is throw an orb and then look around for the Doom, because he was on your Ana, but your McCree killed him. And here you can just call targets. Just say, like, who needs to die. So usually you want to target squishes first. So, you know, Mercy or whoever. So your team basically cleans this up. I'd probably be throwing damage orbs as well here, because just it'd be better to clean up. So yeah, so team composition is pretty similar. You have ball, which doesn't really work too well with the rest of your team, but there's not a lot you can do about that. So here, so what you can easily do, one of the easiest things to get yourself climbing the SR ladder is just getting your ult quicker than everyone else. So if you were here, or you could also do it from this side here, just as it goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, just as 2 leaves the screen, if you throw a damage orb off one of the walls, you can easily get 10% charge if they don't have a diva. And then you can go back and you'll have your orb on cooldown by the time you need it. So you throw a healing orb here, which gets 0 value. So yeah, there Moira's thrown a damage orb there. So she will be basically at the same level as you, but with 10% more ult charge, because she's got value 8 this orb while you do. So you got the full 10% from there. Again, I'll be telling your team to all stick together here. So, because you're playing again against a spam composition, you need to be hiding around the corner. So whether it's this corner here, or this corner here, you need to communicate your team to stick to one side. Because with people, you know, flanking, you're going to get like 0 value tomorrow. Again, I'd call hog, right side. You didn't really need a heal over there. Would have been useful here. Again, a Risa low. Immediately once you see a Risa low and your orb comes off cooldown, immediately throw it. Because that Risa will die in once, because she's 2 bars, so that's like 50 health, so after a second she'll die. Hog pops his ult here and he's half. You're not going to be able to heal the Rhine through Hog ult anyway. So it would be better to just throw an orb and right click the Hog and kill him as quickly as possible. I mean the McCree, sorry, you won't be able to heal the McCree through it. So you're a few people down, so what I'll be saying to your team is to come back a little bit here. Because you're down so much and they have spawn advantage. Fade the wrong way there, you didn't even need to fade, you could have just walked backwards there. You're not with your team there, you could maybe get some people alive. Here you've just got to go back and regroup. So you faded to the wrong side. What I want you to do is fade down here, and then you could get out through this way. Or if you decide to try and make a play here, because basically you're down in such numbers and they have spawn advantage that you need to make a play, you could use damage orb and coalescence, which is 120 DPS per second. And you could focus a squishy and try and bring the fight around this way, but this is the worst possible option you could have done. Either get out or go down here, make a play, and you can heal up your ball and try and kill the Mercy. Or some of the squishy, if you coalescence and damage orb combo. So your team tries to, you do get Grease rolled out, which is decent.
Just fall back on so it's not her.
But you need to communicate to the McGree's gate now. 3 people on your team will have bad spawn, so you've got to get back. Your Ryan comes in here too. So you've got to, you know, hold behind this corner and just wait for everyone to come back. Everyone's just a little bit too forward. Like, they're not pushing you here because it's in gold, but if you want to try and get higher, people trying to stag you all. Especially when they have a hog, you can just get picks anyway. So here, just going in this room is not the right play. You need to stay around this corner. I don't know why your Ryan went here anyway. This is the worst position for him to go. But if worst came to worst and he was slow, you could coalescence from that back corner anyway. So you could cage coalescence. So this is dangerous. Obviously, you're really low. The hog could hook you or something like that. Yeah, you get hit by an arrow when you're low. So yeah, you need to tell your team here, regroup. I think last ball here might stake here. So you use coalescence here. There's no need for coalescence. Hamster's not going to die to a Hanzo arrow at his health. And you can just use your heal thingy plus just your left click to heal him up. So there's you gain like no value out of coalescence. So by the time, because coalescence it can be used offensively sometimes. Ideally, when you use a mixture of defensively and offensively, but you've wasted like. By the time you turn around and you try and use it offensively, you've only got a quarter left. So your coalescence in general have been pretty poor this round. So, say how much damage and how many people that was hitting at that end. That was hitting your ball. It's probably, I think it was hitting 3 people on their team at the same time. So that was getting a lot of value at the end. But the problem was you used it so early and you didn't need to. Like right now, if you use coalescence now with a damage orb, that would put so much pressure on their team. They wouldn't be able to out-heal it. And it would also allow your tanks in front to, you know, take that space. So yeah, as you say here, you've used all your ults, so that is an issue.
Thank you, Ryan.
So it's worth noting what they have. They probably have Junk Tire again. Probably halfway to Coalescence. Valkyrie. So nothing too much you gotta worry about, but just say to your team they have Junk Tire. Try not to stay too close together. Again, I like how you throw a damage orb here just a bit too late. Like, the moment you see that Risa set up with a shield, so she's going to be beyond that shield for a while until she gets a new one. Just immediately throw that damage orb, because this moment's of hesitation, like, the 2 seconds that the cooldown becomes available again, might be, you know, might be the difference maker in a fight. So again, everyone's here again. Maybe pull a target, maybe the hog, maybe there is who's isolated. Someone says jump behind, but no one knows exactly what behind means. That's unfortunate. What you should do here is just try and die on payload. You do get out here, but that's because it's gold and their team's not taking advantage of it. So if you don't payload here, you'll easily get another fight. I mean, like I say, you do get A tier, but that's because their team's pretty bad and they don't realise the advantage of it. So they're Dame 2. They do get res, but they're still Dame 1 anyway. So if you regroup here, you just tell your team, wait in spawn, don't go 8, don't go 8. By the time you take that fight, it'll be a 6v5. But instead, people go 8, which is always scary. Nice beefs, no need to use any ults. So what you need to do here, because you have your ult, you don't need to throw damage orbs anymore because that will feed ult charge. So I want to say like throw damage orbs that get ult charge. Once you're great, you don't need to, but you should be somewhere here maybe, and you just get some intel as they're walking through, and then you can fade back to your team, so you can tell whether they're going through castle, whether they're going this way. Because as of right now, because the people on high ground aren't communicating where people are going, it might be you that needs to say it. Lucio falls off the map, but he should be back by the time the fight starts anyway. Like you're looking around, see if people are going through. So they use coalescence, so you don't really need to. Your team still have beat, and no one's in any danger of dying. So what you could do is fade all the way to here and use coalescence, and then you could heal everyone here and attack the fire at the same time a bit earlier. Here, this is far too late coalescence. Both Ball and Lucio half, they're not going to die to just a single reset. So you can just heal them anyway, or just kill the reset and they'll be safe for you to heal after. So again, you get like no value out of these ults. Plus, as well as that, what you could do, because Ryan was in no danger of dying, to try and get your ult back up again, you could have not healed him here. Because he wasn't that low, like he still had like 150 HP, and your coalescence was just about to end. You could just not heal him with coalescence here, and then just use your orb and right click, your left click, sorry, to heal him up, and you probably get another 20% ult charge. Okay. So you could have communicated, because Arisa just slowly waddled off here. She's slowly waddled. See, there she is. Well, you could just say chase Arisa in castle, and the team won't be able to get to her before she died. Again, I'd be getting on top of this castle here. Now that you don't have your ult, throw damage orbs again. Get intel where they're going. Yeah, I don't know what hands I'll use there. So again, if we see what they have. So they've gone to a Pharah. Trying to find the exact. So they've gone to a Pharah instead of a Junk, and they have a Widow instead of Hanzo. So you gotta play behind cover against both of these heroes, because they will punish poor positioning. They probably also have Arisa, Bongo, so you gotta be careful with that. So I'm probably whole hogging, maybe Valk. So nothing too big you gotta worry about. The biggest thing you gotta worry about is positioning, so you don't get beat by Pharah or hit by Drax, and you don't get headshot. So your Ryan there goes the wrong way. There's nothing you can really do, you can't hit damage there. And then the Orisa flanks. But you should eat. So you either need to try and make a choice there, you're caught in two minds. You either need to, in this situation, so you've lost two. You either need to get out or die in payload, and here you get stuck in the middle. So you could just fade as soon as it comes up, fade all the way back here, or just die in payload and store it so you get another fight. Because that extra 2 seconds that you maybe delay the car could make the difference in between a better regroup. So your team's not able to touch, because Ryan's there. If you delayed on payload, you might have been able to touch there. There you go, tell everyone to get back, get back, get back. So So just throw damage orbs straight away. As soon as you see the Reese's low, she's getting pocketed by Mercy, so she gets full health. Well, by Mercy and Moira. But if you throw a damage orb with Hamster shooting her, she probably would have died there if you'd have thrown your orb out straight away. Again, the effects of beat are still there. You've doubled up the sport ult where you don't need to, so it would have been better to try and heal people who are low underneath with just your left click, or wait till your orb, which is just come available, and then if you needed to, if people were still low after, as soon as beat is ending, you can just pop it. This is just too early, and again, you're not really getting that value out of it. So you are getting value if you kill that widow there, but you could have waited an extra 2 seconds and got even more value, or you might not have even needed it. So this is still a winnable fight, but you've got to try and focus the Mercy as hard as you can here, because of you got to tell everyone to go on Mercy, because she's just going to res, and if she gets that res off, then the fight's not a winnable fight. See, Mercy gets the res off, and you just need to get out at this point. Just get out. Yeah, it's not your fault. You could have said to people, get back, and made the tournament today. Again, if you want the Orisa to die, you can just call Orisa over and over. Not really usage there. Their fade's too late. That's quite dangerous because you might have got hooked there. So you wanted to use fade just before you turn around the corner. So you use it a little bit late. If you used C, you should have used fade a little bit earlier. So you should have used fade after you killed right here, fade here, and then you could fade around and get back to your team without taking any damage. But you should use it a little bit later. See, maybe if someone was there, they could have killed you. Just call a target that you want to die, so it could be the Mercy. You just need to get back here, you need to get all the way out. Yeah, you don't really know if your back's against the wall there. And then it's clean up beautifully, so the enemy team make a lot of mistakes. The Torb ult helps quite a lot, because all of a sudden they can't stand where they are, so they back up. And they're quite low anyway, which allows your ball to get an easy slammer. And then the game nicely ends after that point. So the issues is that you didn't really have a lot of impact on this game, on whether you lost it or you didn't. So you've got to think about how to get the most effective use out of coalescence. So you always want to make sure, if possible, to do an orb cancel before. If it's against an Orisa comp, you can use it reactively once you use his bongo. Or at least make sure people are lined up and you're not just using it just to heal people who can easily be healed with like an orb or just with your left click anyway. Work on your mouse issues, whether that's a mouse sensitivity or mousepad issue, so that you can smoothly turn around rather than having all these sharp turns all the time. And try and get your team to group up as much as possible by using voice chat, so you can get the most value out of Moira, or if it's not working, maybe switch to another healer like Mercy, who works better when targets are split up all the time.